Hello everyone, it's Nick. As you can see, had a really lovely message this morning actually on YouTube. So I get lots of really really inspiring comments actually, particularly when women basically say thank you, and it makes them feel less alone and that they're not peculiar or odd or imagining this stuff with the menopause. It's all real. It is, it absolutely, you are not alone. I think there are lots of us, and it is all very real. And one of the comments this morning was basically asking how I was, because I haven't vlogged for a while, and I haven't vlogged for a while actually. And so thank you very, very much for asking that question. It was really appreciated, and it did also inspire me to action. So why haven't you heard from me for a while? If I'm honest, I think I'm being really careful in terms of managing my energy levels. So we are at the point in my journey where I'm no longer able to tolerate kind of classic HRT. And it is just simply because I have been on HRT for so long. My body has now got to the point where it goes, I know that you're putting some chemicals into me and I don't want them, thank you very much. It's the same concept that happens when we take too many antibiotics and they stop working. And what that has meant is that the side effects are just too bad for me. I just get really nauseous because the HRT just basically whirls around in my liver. Nausea is generally, my consultant tells me, a sign that your liver's just not coping with stuff. I lose my appetite, sadly not any weight. I lose my interest in food and the joy that I get from enjoying food, which is really important actually. It's really important. And also I get really constipated and generally just feel a bit pants because the HRT isn't doing anything. It's just whirring around in my liver. So I just get side effects and no benefits. Bottom line is my last visit with my consultant, which was a few weeks ago now, I'm past that. So I've got a bit of a natural cocktail that I've been trying. There's a thing called, I think it's Serene. It's like a multivitamin complex I've been taking, and I do take probiotics, I do take vitamin D, make sure my B12's good, and so forth. It's not as good as HRT. There's no two ways about it. It's okay. So how am I? Well, I am very tired a lot, so I'm managing that as best as I can by trying to chunk my day down into shorter slots. So rather than getting up in the morning and looking at, the next 12 to 14 hours, I try and chunk it down into 4-hour slots. This is my focus for 4 hours, and then taking a breath. And maybe that's a really healthy way that we should apply to our life, not just in menopause, but to chunk our day down and to take those rests, to sit down and just do nothing. Don't think, don't read, just do nothing. It might be 15 or 20 minutes, whatever it is. That has definitely helped. And I think there's a real mental thing there, because I just don't feel so overwhelmed if I chunk it down into 4 hours. The other big thing I've done is I'm just really strict on how much I fit into a day, and protecting time. And again, this is not just a physical, helping me physically with energy levels, but mentally. So Monday, as you can see, I'm sat here in my apron. I'd started to let things creep into a Monday with work and other bits and bobs. And what I find that really works for me, Monday, if I'm absolutely really strict on keeping it clear. Monday's my home day. Monday is the day when I get on top of everything. I get on top of the house, I get on top of the washing, I get on top of the, it's just I just need that one day a week to collect myself. Everybody's gone back to work and school after the weekend, and somehow psychologically it just keeps me more balanced. So I think there's definitely something in protecting our time and setting boundaries, not only time to get on top of ourselves. And I think the environment that we live in is massively important, because I feel really quite stressed if the environment I'm in is might look chaotic to others, but I know when it's chaotic and when it's organized to me. So I think there's something very much about that, retreat to your cave, which is your home. And I don't think we should underestimate the role of the home in our lives and the time that is required to actually create and organise the home so that it plays to our mental and emotional well-being. That's all of that. So how am I really doing? Well, yeah, so the tiredness is, yeah, it's not as bad as I thought it would be, actually. So before I started HRT, it was a lot more acute, but I do get tired, particularly in the afternoons. Appetite is okay. That's okay. Brain fog's really, really, really bad. I mean, I was actually at the dinner table the other night and I was crying because everybody around the dinner table was asking me or reminding me about a conversation that had been had earlier that day where I'd been asked whether I wanted to do something with the family. And I got a bit uppity because I was like, oh, well, it would have been nice to have been asked. And family were like, we did. We all asked you. We all asked you at lunch. And do you know what? Even now, I have no recollection of that conversation. And I cried because it really worries me. It really worries that I'm having like massive gaps in my memory recall, particularly short-term memory recall. And yeah, it's not like, oh shit, I've forgotten that. And then I remember. It's like, oh shit, I've forgotten that. And there is just no recall on it at all. I think that is definitely a sign of the low estrogen, definitely. And that is really acute. That is probably the worst it's ever been. Yeah, it does. I have to say, it does. And I think it links with the tiredness. It does affect my sex drive. My weight's pretty stable, to be honest. Not really much has happened with my weight. I am exercising. I am going for a walk. I'm going to the gym. I'm going to yoga. All of that sounds a lot. I'm not doing loads. I'm really strict. I only go to one yoga class a week. I go for a couple of walks a week with a friend, and I try and go to the gym a couple of times a week. But if I'm feeling overwhelmed or that I can't fit it in or I don't have enough time, I just don't do it. I just don't get myself in a tiz because it's just not worth. It's just not worth it. One of the things that and you can probably just hear actually in my general chatting and whatever, I'm quite lethargic. I'm quite slow. My energy's generally kind of bum 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 bum. I'm not chomping at the bit and grasping life by the throat. Sadness and emotional stuff and anxiety, it's kind of okay. It's not great. It's not bad. I'm kind of, and I think that probably represents the fact that when my energy dips with the estrogen dipping, also my engagement and motivation and excitement about life also dips with it. So I think, it's all a little bit kind of flatlining. I think that's the best way to describe it. It's kind of, I'm a bit flatlined about it all. One of the things, one of the side effects, I'm not sure if I've shared this, apologies if I have. When I was going to the gym a lot doing my strength training, I had a prolapse and I have been seeing a gynecologist and a pelvic floor specialist, physio, she is just amazing. They're not having to do surgical interventions or anything like that. They're doing all of mine with pelvic floor physio. And one of the things that was mentioned was the fact that I was no longer able to take HRT was probably a contributing factor in having the prolapse, because the lack of estrogen makes your pelvic floor muscles less strong. And I had 3 fairly involved births and 3 very large babies, so I guess mine was something always waiting to happen. So I am using an estrogen supplement down there, so to speak. Have I noticed a massive difference? Yeah, a little bit of a difference, I think, but it's not the same as your HRT. But that is kind of all in the mix. But one of the things that the gynecologist has talked to me about, and yes, I am seeing a gynecologist through my private health insurance, is having implants. So I can have, he's talking to me about an estrogen implant and a testosterone implant. So the estrogen would obviously help with my brain fog, my energy levels, my overall engagement with life, my, joie de vivre, my zest. And the testosterone helps enormously with sex drive. So I had not heard of implants before. I didn't know that we could have these implants. I can, as long as my level's obviously low enough. I'm not sure. I haven't even asked if they're available on the NHS. I haven't even asked. I do have private health insurance. I am very blessed. I'm hugely grateful. I do think that menopause support should be much, much more widely available for all women, and it shouldn't be a matter of whether you can afford it or not. But I guess Rome wasn't built in a day, and I am blessed enough to have it, so I use it. Okay, so I am considering having the implants, which will not have to go via my liver to be of use to my body, which would be one way of getting me back on HRT. So I will keep you posted on that. In order to have the implants, I do have to have an up-to-date coil. I do have a coil. I don't know if those of you know, if you have a coil for contraception, I think it's licensed for 8 years, so mine's still in date. But if you have a coil for HRT, so particularly if you're just taking estrogen only, that's why I had to have a coil. You can only take estrogen only, my consultant tells me, if you still have a womb and everything, if you have a coil, because it releases, I don't quite know the technicalities, but it's a safety thing, and also looks after the lining of your womb. But for HRT purposes, it's only licensed for 4 years, and my coil's been in for that period of time. So it would mean I'd have to have a new coil put in order to have the HRT implants. But I am seriously considering it, and in discussions with the gynecologist and indeed my healthcare provider, my private healthcare provider, to see whether it would all be covered. And if it is all covered by my private healthcare, I think I'm probably going to be done. It's not a particularly intrusive procedure, so I will keep you posted on that. Without the HRT, I've never gone back to those early days. Thank God, I've never gone back to those early desperate days of not being able to get out of bed, of not being able to stop crying, of feeling so overwhelmed and completely and utterly lost in the world. So lost, so valueless, so overwhelmed, so frustrated. I mean, I don't watch my earlier vlogs because actually I think they'd be too painful to watch. But neither do I delete them because they might be of use to somebody, right? I have never gone back. So that tells me that my menopause has moved, and I am coping far better because I've been HRT free now for a good few months. I'm not really rocking life as much as I would like to, but this is perfectly sustainable, and I'm very much trying to make the best of everything because I'm very blessed and I love life. And even if I can't be as excited and energized as I used to be, that doesn't mean I still can't try and make the best of it in lots of different ways, which I do. I probably I can enjoy stuff as much, but I do less of it in one go, and I'm much stricter in terms of balance and how much I'm taking on. I don't work full time. I can't ever imagine being able to work full time again, if I'm honest. I mean, God, I used to work 60 odd hours a week, and it never entered my mind not to do that. Maybe that's just an age thing. Maybe a lot of the stuff I'm doing is bringing more balance and therefore more contentment and peace to my life. Who knows? I don't know, but that is the latest and greatest. And I think I probably am going to try the HRT implants. And when I've got to that stage, absolutely, I will let you know how that's doing. I mean, we all start falling. Well, do we all? It feels a little bit like, I'm 52 now. And it does feel a little bit like the wheels are dropping off a bit because, I never looked after my teeth as a kid, not at all. And now it's kind of coming home to roost because all the crowns and the root canal fillings and God knows what that I had done like back in my 30s are all getting really knackered. And because I had them done so early, I'm actually starting to lose and have to have quite a lot of teeth taken out. So actually later this afternoon, I'm going for an appointment to look at implants because they're really the only solution left for eating teeth here. So it's one step at a time. It's one step at a time. So I'm putting my attention into my mouth at the minute. So that's the latest. I think I'm probably just going to waffle on. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. As ever, I always hope this is of use to others, whatever I can share. Sending everybody lots of love. I know that the journey can be hugely challenging and feel so desperate at times. But what I would say is several years later, I think I started all this at 45, 7 years later, 8 years later, things do pass. And I think you find a way to get in to the new rhythm with yourself, because that's what I think the menopause does. I think it brings a new rhythm to our life. and there's a lot of angst and grief that we go through to get there. And I've had some just bloody amazing support along the way to enable me to get there. And everything passes. It really does. Everything passes. Lots of love. Take care.